Welcome back to Keeping BZ, the show where Zach and I amuse ourselves and make an excuse to hang out by playing a video game and talk in a podcast-like format. And today we're just playing, just doing a usual run of Half-Life 2, but not the whole game, just a bit of it in one video.
Yeah, this is Half-Life 2 exactly as I remember it.
Yep. Huh. Though something seems a little different.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't played Half-Life 2 in years, but this all looks according to my memory.
Okay, yeah. Some sort of train. So, just to pull the cover over your eyes, this is a mod called Half-Life Alone. This is technically a demo of it, though a good portion of it is already pretty much finished, and it is what it says on the tin. It's Half-Life 2, but there's nobody here. No enemies, no NPCs, you do need to do some of the same obstacles as the main game in terms of physics puzzles and all that, but that's it. There's nobody here anymore. But there is some effort put into making sure that the environments are lit differently. This is all set at night instead of all in daytime like in the main game. And the music in the background is kind of auto-generating where it has a couple different tracks it can play, and it kind of switches between them as you explore, and they'll kind of crop up at certain times. Oh, here we are out in City 17, but it's, yeah, it definitely has a much different atmosphere. Actually, wait a second, let's turn this filter off. There we go, that's a little better.
I'm half expecting the town to become foggy and for an air horn to start playing. Not air horn, air raid siren.
Well, if it was an air horn, it would probably be just as startling.
You gotta play the Vuvuzela.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the changes they made in Silent Hill 2 remake, is that now it just plays a giant air horn whenever the monsters are coming.
James is about to do some MLG strats.
Yeah, they made him a gamer now to make it more appealing to modern audiences.
Yeah, and they made Eddie twice as much of an incel from what I hear.
Oh, really? I've kind of stayed away from everything involving the remake.
I've only heard bits and pieces.
Oh, okay.
All information I hear is entirely unwillingly.
I see.
Oh no, they've turned Half-Life 2 into a walking simulator!
I know. Occasionally you'll have to
Spooky.
do something, but yes, this is what they did.
Brandon told me I have to do this, so I'm just gonna do this now and get it out of the way. I apologize that we never finished the Half-Life 1 playthrough.
It's fine. It's been a very long time since that playthrough, and, I mean, it's Half-Life 1. Despite what purists will tell you, for casual players, it's not the most friendly game, especially towards, like, the later half of it. And it becomes, especially when you're trying to do a Let's Play and you're just trying to keep the pace going, Half-Life becomes less fun and more just kind of trial and error as you beat your head against quick save loading until you eventually get past each section that's giving you trouble.
Yeah, for me personally, and I think Alec would agree if he was here, and I think Brandon will agree with this too, I was still having fun playing Half-Life 1. It just didn't become fun to record anymore.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's something we've talked about before, that some games are more fun to record than others. And that it's kind of hard to keep motivation, and especially to keep up commentary when I'm doing something like dying 10 times in the same area and then quick loading, and then Alec and Brandon are just praying for me to accidentally do something right.
And I've had that trouble too, especially, I mean, there were definitely parts of Resident Evil 4 where I was dying over and over again because it had been a bit since I played that game, and, you know, there's pretty tough sections in the original game. Such is the nature of doing Let's Plays.
This game has an entirely different vibe when you're just alone and there's no one to talk to or lead you anywhere.
I mean, I think that was just the crux of why they made this, just because it's just such an interesting idea. And also having to redo the level design to kind of motivate Gordon down pathways that usually would happen because, you know, bullets would lead him that way, or Alex would go this way. But it also means, yeah, the game is just walking and moving around. And there's not much else to it.
Does make it very easy to commentate over.
Yeah.
Just having a nice relaxing time. Now we're literally just keeping busy.
Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we can pull up our jukebox if we want to listen to a different track, but they're all pretty intentionally low-key. No, Dr. Breen, Private Reserve. Yeah, and the lab is already open.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. But that cat's not going to be around. Oh, actually, the cat wasn't around in the original Half-Life 2 either. Oh, I'm thinking about the head crab.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're probably thinking about the head crab.
Well, there's also... oh, I forget the scientist's name. But they're talking about a previous experiment they did with a teleporter, and they used a cat. And then they said they don't know anything about what happened to the cat. And Alex goes, wait, about that cat. Alec quotes it all the time. And anytime we see a cat, that's the first thing that comes to mind. Yeah, about that cat.
That's also a movie reference, the whole cat thing.
Oh, that I never knew.
The movie The Fly from the original, not the remake from the 80s, but the original version of The Fly from, I believe, the early 60s, late 50s. That version, the first time he tests out the teleporter technology, he uses a cat, and once he sends it through, it never returns. You sort of hear it meowing in this kind of echoey reverb like it's lost somewhere between worlds, but that's it, and the cat never appears again. So yes, it was the writers of Half-Life 2 just making a cheeky little reference to The Fly. What was your first experience with this game, Zach? Was it just when... Because I know that I first played Half-Life 2 by borrowing the orange box from you and Alex. Was that your first time playing the game on PS3?
My dad owned this game when it was... I don't know how long Half-Life 2 had been out at that point, but I'm pretty sure it was fairly new. Probably only a year or two old by that point. I do remember thinking graphically it looked really impressive, and I was always surprised that my dad's PC could run it, though he was... always more of a PC guy than my mom was. My mom would always just own PCs that were just good enough for internet and homework. Whereas my dad was slightly more of a gamer, and he does programming stuff. So I actually did play Half-Life 2, and I thought it was really cool and interesting for the time, but even to this day, for some reason, it just can never hold my attention. There's just some games that are really popular that I just have trouble sticking with for whatever reason. There's just not enough numbers and rectangles, Brandon. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Of course not. If only Half-Life had a card battle system, it would be worthwhile as a product.
Or yokai. That he could take 3 hours to the front.
I mean, maybe somebody ported yokai models into the Source engine that you could then put in Half-Life 2.
Maybe. That reminds me, at one point, I want Alec, you, and I to do one last Left 4 Dead video, but we use mods. We have to do that at some point.
Yeah, there was that new campaign that fans added, so I think that's probably worth looking into at some point.
Yeah, and then Alec is going to be Black Doom, and I'm going to be Morgana, and we've agreed you're going to be Shadow. And then the AI is going to be PS1 Hagrid.
Okay, I mean, sure, I guess. And all those mods exist, I imagine, even PS1 Hagrid?
Yes, we've tested all of them.
Okay, good.
Well,
that sounds fun. Yeah, I'd be up for that.
We might have to change PS1 Hagrid.
Why not PS1 Hagrid? He's fun. He's a cool guy.
Because he's Harry Potter.
Oh, yes. And the legacy that Harry Potter's author has left behind that makes even associating with the franchise feel kind of gross. Yeah, like Zach and I have talked about the prospect of doing some of the older Harry Potter games on Keeping BZ, like Chamber of Secrets, because we do have a lot of affection for the console version, and I have a lot of affection for the PC version of Chamber of Secrets and Sorcerer's Stone, because they are decently designed licensed games that are very, very strong even for their time, like nice little like Zelda clones. But yeah, then it comes to the prospect of, oh right, you're making content with that franchise, so you're technically giving money to somebody that you don't even want to associate with anymore. So it's like, on some level, it's been very easy for me to just kind of throw out JK, just to be like, oh, yeah, she's promoting views that would actually cause harm to some of my close friends, so I don't even want to think about her work anymore. But then it's also like, but these games and the franchise in general are a large part of my nostalgia as a youth. So the idea of, you know, playing some of this stuff and showing off what these developers did and the effort they put into these really, honestly, very nicely designed licensed games, I'd love to do that, but, you know, it's a question of how do you do that without giving her money, and with YouTube as a platform and the Content ID system, I think that's pretty much impossible.
Or just have to game the system like everyone else does.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, even for some people, you can't even really do a Magic School without people thinking about that.
Or if they do, I mean, yeah, like anybody that does a Magic School in today's media, they have to be riffing off of or commenting on the Harry Potter's interpretation of it, because it's just, not because it's the best, but just because it is by far the most ingrained in culture.
Moving on to a more pleasant conversation. What do you think is the story for this one? Why is Gordon Freeman taking this walk in a lonely town?
Well, I think it can be described similarly to, like, just, you know, the motivations as to the Half-Life series in general, like why Gordon ends up where he does, like, you know, the G-Man dropping him off where he's most needed. And in this case, you know, maybe something went wrong. Maybe it became a thing where, oh, I guess he was accidentally sent into a dimensional rift where he ended up in a place that City 17 was just devoid of all life. Like, it's clearly, like, the Combine still came through here, but there's nobody left, so you could say that, you know, everybody wiped themselves out, or some higher power stepped in. But it would make sense that Gordon's alive because he was just sort of teleported into this place. So here he is, and now he's trying to figure out what to do with himself, which isn't much.
Brian, we're never going to get a million views with explanations like that. It's got to be purgatory. For some reason, everything must be purgatory. I'm getting... This is going to be a random tangent, but You watch keep being busy for the random tangents, I imagine. I'm getting so sick that every alternative fan theory is 9 times out of 10 purgatory, or the characters are already dead.
Yep.
For some reason, that's the one everybody goes to.
I imagine it's just one of the easiest to think about because it, you can just easily place that into anything because many times, and most times that kind of logic is always metaphorical. So because you don't actually see anything like that in the show, it's very easy to go, well, maybe this means this.
Yeah, but it kind of gets to a ridiculous point. Like, I think they do that with the Rugrats. I think one of the theories about the Rugrats is that one is purgatory or something. Or maybe
but Zach, they all growed up.
They did grow it up, yes. I think Ed and Eddie probably has a purgatory theory.
But why? Is it just because, oh, look, TV shows are episodic and the characters never age because of the nature of the format of television, that means it has to be purgatory and not just because that's how the format works? Episodic television.
It's probably something like that. I think it also has something to do with the cul-de-sac. Like, the cul-de-sac is its own world. You don't see anyone new ever coming in. And it's just the same kids. Like, I can't really speak on these fan theories because I don't look them up because I'm not really a theorizing kind of guy. That's just not what I get into shows and games for. Like, that's not to say I'll never theorize or try to guess what happens next, but 9 times out of 10, I'm just focused on what the game or movie or whatever the media is just showing me on screen.
Right. Yeah, as you can probably tell, viewer, we are not part of the Five Nights at Freddy's generation. Otherwise, we probably would be theorizing every single thing we see.
Okay, these cinder blocks represent guilt, and you have to weigh that down with your guilt. By that, you are confessing your sins. You see, you're the one who killed Alex, and that's why everything is empty.
The universe was so sad that Alex died.
Yeah, they'll never get a VR game now.
Yeah. I played a little bit of Half-Life Alyx thanks to Zach's brother Alec, and I really enjoyed what I played. I just need to get back to it. It's just because I have to use his headset, it's a bit of a commitment to set all that up and get back to it and remember what the hell was going on. And
yeah, I still have to finally play Sam & Max. This time it's virtual. I bought that game years ago. Still haven't even touched it.
Oh, that's right. Yet. Damn. Come on. It's doing that thing where once I get to the end of the platform and I hit jump, it just doesn't jump. There we go. Yeah, as I said, my experience with Half-Life 2, first of all, was Zach and Alec got the orange box, and I borrowed that, and I played it on PS3, which is notoriously the worst version, because it was basically because, from what I understand, it was because of the very convoluted architecture of the PS3 that when trying to port it over, it became a hassle. So that's why the PS3 version of Half-Life 2 and its episodes have a lot of slowdown and a lot of issues that are not in other versions. And in fact, the 360 version runs much better because, the 360 is by Microsoft. It uses a similar Windows type architecture, so it was a much easier to put together. But the PS3 version had its problems. But it was the first way I ever played Half-Life 2, and I had a great time with it. Like, this game is what it is. I hadn't played Half-Life 1, I think, yet. I actually played Half-Life 1 first through the PS2 port, which is kind of infamous in its own ways. But Half-Life 2, the PS3 version, I fell in love with this game. It was one of the best FPSs I had played when I first tried it out. But Half-Life 2 is kind of scratching itches for me personally that many people that play FPSs wouldn't really care about, in that Half-Life 2 is revolutionary in how it kind of furthered the interconnected, always in first-person storytelling of Half-Life 1, and by actually having an ongoing character that really is interacting with you the whole time. and just the quality of the models, the ways that the characters, just how expressive they were for the time. And then even when you get into the episodes too, I love the first episode and like how there's large sections of you and Alex just driving around in your sand buggy, exploring different towns and meeting different people. And just for a long period of time, just having the AI character with you. But then they didn't make any more, which is sad, but we'll see one day. From what Alec has told me, the ending of Half-Life Alyx implies that, you know, they're setting up a direction they're considering for Half-Life 3, but we'll see how long it actually takes for that to come to anything.
Half-Life 3 is never going to live up to expectations. That's one of my many hot takes. If it ever gets made, no one will ever be happy. It's just taken too long. People have way too high of expectations for it, and it can never make anyone happy. But that's just my theory.
Well, I mean, but you're right, Zach, because you have to consider what these two games, Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2, meant to games. Like, they weren't just that game and how that game revolutionized storytelling and a lot of techniques of how games are designed nowadays. The Half-Life games were, in themselves, their own engines that became open source that caused the development of so many other games because of how versatile they were to develop for. Like, Half-Life 1 isn't just Half-Life 1. Half-Life 1 is, you know, Team Fortress. It is Counter-Strike. And Half-Life 2 is, you know, all the games that, like Left 4 Dead and all the games that would be made with the Source engine and Gary's Mod and all of that. Like, so much of gaming culture was created through just how those games affected communities. And so the idea of a 3, the expectation is not just that it'll be a good video game and a good follow-up to those two games, but that it has to revolutionize video games in some way, shape, or form, whether with whatever new engine they create for it, whether with, you know, what it does, like, just to change games as a whole. Because I think Valve kind of realizes that now, because Half-Life Alyx is also, from what I understand and what I played, a fantastic game that goes further into showing what we can really do with VR. How far can it be taken? How interactive can it be? And I think Half-Life Alyx, even though VR is a much more niche genre than, you know, obviously any kind of computer FPS, it still is pushing VR games forward. Like, that game, I feel like, is very much living up to the hype, but they smartly didn't make it Half-Life 3. They just made it a spin-off sort of thing, but it still had the Half-Life branding on it, so it still had some level of expectations that it was set upon. But yeah, now they have to make a 3 at some point, and I think they're so happy with how well Steam is doing and how well their other products are doing with Dota 2 and all that. I mean, what's really the point anymore? But I mean, they made Alyx. They set up for things in the future. It'll come one day.
And it's going to get called woke.
I mean, probably. I mean, you could say 2 is woke because Alyx is not a character designed with, you know, conventionally over-the-top female video game oogling attractiveness, and she's very much an active character that helps contribute to every sort of firefight or encounter you get into.
Yeah, but she came out in the 2000s, so that's different. I guess, Zach,
but you look at, like, other female protagonists around the time, and, like, I think of, like, when I think of good female protagonists in video games, especially of the 2000s era, I think of, like, Jade from Beyond Good and Evil, and I think of Alyx. Both characters with kind of similar character designs if you really look at them.
I just more meant that the woke crowd will be like, if anything's new and has a female protagonist, it's woke. But if a game from, like, the PS2 era or whatever had a female protagonist that was strong, they'd be like, oh, well, that one doesn't count because I like that one.
Yeah, it's from when I was a kid, which means it's better.
That's how some people just look at video games. And it's a shame. But, like, I can't, you know... This is probably also something we've talked a lot about before in other Keeping Beesies, but I'm getting more nostalgic than I'd like to be. But nostalgia is bullshit. It's full of lies. And this game about walking really makes me feel existential.
Yeah, I mean, we're currently recording this on the eve of the announcement of who will become the next president of the United States in 2024. And for some reason, I mean, there were other games I was considering that would meet with some level of theming, but the only thing I could think of was playing a game where there's no humans at all anywhere, and just how good that made me feel after the immense amount of stress I felt over, I mean, this whole year, but especially the past month or so leading up to all this crap, after so many text messages, so many spam emails, just all this crap that just made me not want to engage with it, but knowing I have to as like a civic duty.
We gotta do it. Gotta do it.
Yeah, we have. I mean, we have to. There's no like debate there. You have to vote. You have to go out there and you have to, you know, try to pull things. I mean, it's not even just a case of voting for who you want to be in. It has to be like, okay, who do I want to be? Who is the lesser of two evils? And who can I be like? And who can I be like? Okay, and now we need to push on whoever gets in to make the changes in the world we'd like to see happen, and they probably won't.
Yeah, but like the way I always try to think of it is like progress is slow, and it's not like we're voting for the one we really want, but maybe by getting this one person in, we can get someone we really want later. And it sucks to have to do the. Like, it sucks to have to be, like, the lesser two of evils now, but as I've seen some people talk about, at some point, it'll be so little evil that it won't even be evil, or something like that.
I mean, that's certainly an optimistic way to look at it.
I mean, what are we supposed to do? Just think doom and gloom, and then just let the world turn to shit over the next couple of years just because I can't be bothered?
I guess. I don't know. Like, it's so, but it's, to me, to look at things in any sort of realistic way, I feel like I kind of have to be a bit just kind of negative, because that's all I feel when I look at outside my door, when I drive down, you know, the town near me, or just driving through the general area nearby. I don't know. There's just not this feeling of things are going to get better. It just looks like things may either stay the course or get worse. And I know you're right though. We shouldn't think that way. We should hope for things to get better and push forward to make things better. It's just been so tiring since the start of this decade.
Oh no, it definitely is. I'm not gonna say it's not.
All right, let's see how the most, one of the more contentious areas in Half-Life 2. Let's see how this is when you don't actually have to deal with anything.
This is honestly the segment that makes me not... This is usually the segment that makes me bored. I'm gonna be honest. I mean, the connected world of Half-Life 2 is pretty cool. But I feel like it's also what makes me not super interested. Just because I like... What's the best way to put it? I feel like there are just moments of the game that are not action-y enough. My monkey brain requires more exciting gunfights. And that's not to say they're boring. You know, because there are definitely good moments of Half-Life 2 that I like. But I just feel like it doesn't necessarily meet what I typically look for in a shooter. Like, I'm much more into Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal, for example, or like I've talked about it a couple times. Even in our Half-Life playthrough, I've mentioned Blood, and Blood's fucking ridiculously hard, but whenever it's not beating my ass, I do enjoy playing it. But Half-Life 2, I can totally see like the history and everything that it does, and I remember playing around with the physics for the first time and thinking it was super cool. I never really seen anything like that in a video game before. But I also feel like when all you really do is just revolutionize something and that's kind of your only focus, at some point it's going to feel less revolutionary.
Right.
And then what does the game have after that? Which, that's not to say nothing.
I mean, I know, but like for me, I think this game, I mean, and this is a blasphemous thing, of course, but I do enjoy playing Half-Life 2 better than the first game. And I know, yes, the enemy AI is obviously better in the first Half-Life, but I just enjoy City 17 much more as a world over Black Mesa. I like the characters obviously more because they're more defined characters. What else? I mean, I really enjoy, I mean, yes, the physics stuff is great. The raw atmosphere of this game. No,
there's like I said, there's good moments. I like Ravenholm, for example.
Oh yeah,
Ravenholm's a really good area.
Yeah, well, the gravity gun in general just feels awesome. And I think that Half-Life 2 to me has more variety in its gameplay than the first one in a way that I find much more enjoyable, especially the vehicle stuff. And yeah, I know people don't like the boat.
I don't like the boat.
people don't like the boat. Zach, come on. The boat or on a rail from Half-Life 1.
Oh, boat.
Yeah,
boat.
The boat. Yes.
My on a rail sucks.
Yeah. And by the way, Zach, in Black Mesa, the fan source remake of Half-Life 1, they completely redesigned on a rail and also cut it down severely.
Like, even though I do feel like there are too many talky moments or just too many moments of not really anything going on and you just sort of explore from place to place, like, that's kind of my issue with the boat. For me, it just feels like it lasts too long. But, you know, like we talked about, I prefer it over on a rail. But I've always really, really loved the opening of Half-Life 2. I love going from the train and you hear, "Welcome to City 17." And then you go through, like, the checkpoint, you meet Barney and all that. I always thought that all of that was really, really cool.
I mean, interactivity, I overall just felt like as I was walking through that environment, it was just a lot more interesting. I mean, the tram section from the first game is obviously very cool for its time, but I do much prefer the opening where you're just not sure what this place is, but just the way that it establishes world building through all of the little things that are happening, just how interconnected it is. All of the stuff with, like, the different civilians and the way they're reacting to their treatment. And all these little things you may miss if you don't explore the little corners of the city as you're just walking around.
Now, the world building and all of that, and the writing and story, I do think are better in Half-Life 2. It's just, it's a shooter, and I want to shoot. And it sounds very basic, I understand. It's not very artsy.
And but yeah, but I understand that, Zach, especially, you know, especially in Ravenholm when you're having the zombies run at you and you're shooting them with your new shotgun you just got. Yeah, that's definitely a lot better than other sections where you're, you know, going up against the very, very stupid Combine.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but I always remember the Combine just sort of standing there while they shoot at you.
Yep, pretty much. They don't really do a good job protecting themselves or going to defend themselves or getting behind cover like the soldiers in the first game.
I mean, I think that's a criticism now, but back when I was a kid and I was not very good at shooters, I'm actually pretty sure there were a couple times I died when I first played Half-Life 2 as a kid.
Oh, really?
So I guess in some ways the easier difficulty could have been a way to lean people into FPS games, and if you really want more of that story, then the lesser difficulty is nice.
All right.
I think for Half-Life 2, it just sort of depends on what you're going in for.
Yeah. I mean, I still think both games are worth playing to some extent for just what they represent for video game history, but also because I think that in some ways they both hold up. In my opinion, 2 more than 1, but I also understand people that love 1 to death and will not let it go. Pick up more useless weapons. All these little sounds you don't notice because you're getting your ass shot at in this section.
In case you're wondering about the time, we're about 36, 37 minutes in.
Okay, so we can probably stop pretty soon. Uh-oh.
I do like the quiet town aesthetic. Like, one thing that probably doesn't really sound like me is, what I really like, you know, I don't like my small town very much. The only time I kind of like looking at it is if it's like an empty parking lot and you got a bunch of empty cars and there's snow on the ground and you have like the street lights. There's just something about that that just looks very pretty to me.
Yeah, untouched snow is always really nice to see. And we, of course, live in like northeast U.S., so we get that in droves when that time comes around.
Yeah, I don't want to be out in it, but it's very nice to look at. There's just something about a quiet town in it's you and maybe 1 or 2 other people that's just very nice and peaceful. I kind of want to see more games explore like a quiet town. You know, there's obviously a ton of games about small towns and things like that.
I do enjoy a good atmospheric piece. Like even games that are just meant to convey a place and a time and not necessarily be super into like mechanics. But I know that I'm insane and woke for saying that I don't want to always just play a game where I have to either kill something or interact with a bunch of systems. Sometimes if a game can just do a really great job conveying a place, that can sometimes be enough for me just to see it. Like that's what I like a lot about like a lot of the really small indie stuff like on itch.io, because a lot of times it'll just be someone posting, yeah, here's like, I just wanted to get the idea of what this park was like in this place I used to live. So here's a game that is just you walking through this park. And it was like, great, I'm okay with that. I think it's just because of burnout from so many years of just playing so many games that you have to have commitment to do so much in them. And this is like, oh no, you just walk around a park for an hour and then that's it. I'm like, cool. That sounds like a great way to decompress.
I will admit I never got it before. Like, I've been able to enjoy game atmosphere, but usually that's alongside some kind of gameplay, and I remember looking at games and seeing that they like be described as like for the time walking simulators, and that would be like derogatory. And you know, I wouldn't make fun, like even back then I wouldn't make fun of people or like say those games aren't real, but at the same time, younger me would just be like, I don't get it, all you really do is just walk. But I'll say I get it more now, sometimes, like, because I think I was very limited in how I was looking at games before, because I'm someone that's very interested in game mechanics and things like that, and like just really learning the systems. So I never really got like the very atmosphere-focused games, but after taking a step back and really thinking about it, yeah, because games can let you just be absorbed into a world, and you don't need to be slaying monsters or solving intricate puzzles.
Because there's something about having the interactivity to see and look where you want that, to me, still makes it a video game, even, and not just, you know, some other type of medium. But I also understand why some people, you know, talk down on that, because it takes away from the interactivity by not, you know, having you interact with different mechanics and systems to create something. But that's why I'm one of those psychopaths that actually likes the game Gone Home, because the whole idea is you don't know who you are, you're just kind of walking into this house, and you're trying to and it's dark in this house, and you're trying to figure out just why you're here and what's going on. And it's you through reading, or not even just reading notes, it's also just like looking at the intricate environmental design of everything to create an idea of who lives here, who are you supposed to be, like what is anything, and what is the history here. And there was like the way I want to describe it is, it was almost like a weird, I felt nostalgic walking through the house in Gone Home, even though I'm not part of this family, I don't know any of these people. I think it's just because of digging through someone else's memories and somebody else's like belongings in the way that you would dig through old photo albums, or just as you're cleaning your room coming across past things in your house. It gives that kind of vibe where you're like, oh right, I remember when I did that. Oh wow, yeah, that's a great picture. Or just and through that, it told just a really, really sweet story with darker moments, but like the kind of complexity you would expect out of a family. And I felt I was honestly super engaged just to figure out the next little piece of world building as to what is going on with this place. Whether it's the spooky basement, or when you get to the second floor and you're exploring your character's bedroom and learning who they are.
I honestly would be interested in the idea of a game where you just go home and you're all alone in a series. But of course, my version would have weird people coming out of your closet, and then for some reason a battle royale would begin.
Oh god, yep.
That would be my version of Gone Home.
Yeah, just an artsy version of PUBG.
No, but there is something nostalgic for me about that as well, because sometimes I would get home after school, or even sometimes like the rest of the family would go do something, and I would just be home alone, and there is a weird feeling. Like, it's always weird to just be alone, but there is an extra weird but calm but kind of scary feeling of being alone, especially as a kid in your own home. Like, it's kind of cool because you're old enough to be on your own. You don't have to be dragged out. But at the same time, you're alone.
Yeah, no, when I watch something that spooks me, especially when I was younger, and it was a day when I was home alone and I would be sleeping in the house alone, things would affect me a lot more, because I have an overthinking mind that dwells on anything that I focus too much on. So if I was like 11 and I was watching an episode of fucking Ghost Hunters, that would still haunt me literally into the night, because I'd be thinking too much about oh, but what if there is something out there, even though there isn't?
Oh, I never took you for a Ghost Hunters person.
Oh, well, when I was much younger, that's not really something I would watch anymore because I can, as somebody that's now, made short films and, worked on production stuff in college and I've worked on every position of making a production. I mean, oh, well, that's not right. Come on.
How did that happen? Is it not programmed to go down with the elevator?
I thought it was. There
we go. No, like, as a kid, I never believed it to be real, but... Oh, I thought you died for a second. As a kid, I never believed that stuff to be real. I mean, when I'm at night, I believe everything's real.
Yeah.
But during the day and just watching it, I never believed they were actually going through all that, but I just watched it as entertainment. I just watched it like it was any other show.
Yeah, I mean, the same. Because a lot of times, with the way they do the editing for the ghost stories, it can make the hair stand on the back of your neck. These days, I just do that with like actual horror movies. But yeah,
I always thought it was interesting that sometimes they would go to a place and then there wouldn't be a ghost. I mean, not that there was ever really going to be a ghost to begin with, but they would just be like, "Oh no, there's no ghost. It's just this thing creates a creepy feeling, and you're only imagining things." And, you could say a lot of things to make fun of Ghost Hunters, or whatever that show was, the one with Taps. I never remember the name of it, because Ghost Hunters
there was like... Yeah, there's like Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, and there's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah. I'm always afraid of getting them mixed up, because there was one, like, Ghost Adventures is the one I think I'm thinking of, and I never liked that one. Like, Ghost Hunters always felt a bit more grounded, whereas Ghost Adventures is the more typical one where everyone's, like, always yelling about everything. It kind of reminds me of on YouTube videos, actually. They were the original horror Let's Player, except IRL.
Yeah, I mean, you're not 100% wrong there, yeah. That many times it was just a lot of just screaming. I mean, Ghost Hunters has pretty much been eclipsed by, Let's Plays of Phasmophobia.
Yeah, it's come full circle.
Oh, that's right. I need to drop this down here. Oh, god damn it. Yeah, I figure once we get to the next area here, we can stop.
Okay.
I wanted to get to Ravenholm and show Ravenholm with nothing in it, but eh. I think you can use your imagination. Maybe I need to take this off of it? No. So you have to push that fridge in there. Probably want to put some other stuff in it.
Yeah, I don't even remember this part. There we go.
There we go. Yep. Oh. Come on. Ow. God damn you, Source Engine. When it's not the ladders, it's lining up things.
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who gets mad at Source Engine ladders. I was always scared it was just a me thing.
I've never liked ladders in Valve games in general. Oh, yeah, I doubt there will be anything actually there. It's not like we need the gun on the boat in this playthrough. I really did forget how damn long this section of the game was. It was like we're not even at the helicopter boss. I assume that's really soon though.
Yeah, my brain always remembered it being long, but when I was a kid, I was impatient. I remember thinking something was long, and then I play it and Dad don't be like, oh, that wasn't that long. The boat is still going. It really is that long.
Yeah, with no enemies, and it's still going. Come on. What's out here? Look, Valve, the ramps were fun for a while. There's only so many ramps I want to do.
We gotta do at least 3 more ramps before we finish.
Yes, I mean, we've played rare games, so we know that everything always goes by the rules of 3 for everything. Up. I gotta make that turn closer to the edge. Despite my lauding praise of Gone Home, I mean, yeah, I will also say that Doom 2016 blew my mind, and I love that game.
Oh, I love Doom 2016 so much. Honestly, though, I don't even remember what made me want to play Doom 2016. Oh, you know, okay, no, I remember. It was watching trailers for the game and seeing the glory kills, and they look so cool.
Okay.
I'm not normally a Doom guy. I'm not really this is also blasphemous take. We're just full of blasphemous takes. I'm not really interested in Doom 1 or Doom 2.
What about Doom 3?
I was about to say not really Doom 3 either. Like, at some point I'd like to try Doom 2, because I haven't played Doom 2 since I was like a really little kid. And I remember getting lost in mazes. But Doom 2016 is great.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. It took the design of old-fashioned shooters and actually made them into something that it doesn't just, isn't just a homage to old games, to the old Doom games, but mixes it with modern design to create something really special that I'm sure influenced a lot of shooters that came after. I still need to beat Eternal. I got a little ways into Eternal, and it's more puzzle design to its enemies immediately did throw me off a little bit.
Yeah, Eternal seems to be a bit more, maybe device is not the correct word, but, a lot of people seem to prefer the direct combat of 2016 where you just shoot the guys, but I really, really love Eternal.
Do you like it better than 2016?
I actually do. I feel like I'm one of the few people that does, and I'm really excited for the new Doom game, which I can't remember the name off the top of my head. It's the one with the dragon and the cool shield.
Oh, that's right. Because I almost expected them after Eternal to do like a, what do you call it? Do like a take on, like a new Quake, or go dig into their other franchises. But I guess it makes sense to do another Doom if they can find a way to still keep the gameplay interesting.
Yeah, and you can't possibly make the gameplay of Quake interesting.
I mean, the recent remaster, people seem to like it quite a bit, but yeah.
I mean, I've only had experience with, what is it, Quake 4, and I think that's the one no one likes anyway. I think it was Quake 4.
I've done some co-op with the Quake 1 remaster with Zach's brother Alec, and we had a pretty good time, but then it became, well, an old id game. I can't tell where the hell I'm going. Why is everything a maze? Ah, where even are you, Alec? I'm lost.
That's how I felt playing Quake 4 the entire time.
I want to like the Doom engine games, or just the Quake engine games so much, but so many of them, whether it's, you know, Star Wars Dark Forces, or, what is it? What's the... I forget the name of that other one. Well, I mean, is Blood a Doom engine game?
That uses the build engine, yeah.
The build
like,
engine,
same
okay.
with Duke Nukem and... Yeah, but Quake uses like a 3D engine. I'm trying to remember what else used the Quake engine, because I believe quite a few games did.
Because no matter what one of those games I play, they start out strong with the first couple levels where I actually am legitimately enjoying them. And then I get to one level where it's just a giant series of hallway mazes, and I just go, that all look the same, and I just go, okay, I'm good. And I just stop.
This boat is still going.
Sorry. we just cleared the boss arena.
Okay. At least they give us a gun to shoot. At this point, we should call this a companion boat.
Yeah, basically.
We've been on so many adventures together.
Aren't you and Alec the people that like Portal better than Half-Life 2?
It's hard to say for me, because I haven't beaten either Portal 1 or Half-Life 2. I would probably say Alec prefers Portal, but I'd have to double check with him.
To be fair, he does speedrun that game, so...
Yeah. You can watch that on our channel when on the video titled Let's Bitch as Alex Speedruns Portal.
Yes, that was a interesting one. Okay.
See, we could put bitch in the title because we don't make money off these videos anyway. We're cool, we're radical, we're edgy.
And I mean, that video did get a surprising amount of views and likes. Still not entirely sure why.
It's hard to tell with the YouTube algorithm sometimes. Why did Scooby-Doo Night of 100 Frights do so well?
That one, judging by the comments, nostalgia.
Yeah, but like, did we just upload a Five Nights at Scooby's? Oh my god.
That's probably a mod.
Did we upload 100 nights? Did we upload 100 nights? Oh my gosh. Night of 100 Frights. I couldn't remember the name for a second. Did we just upload that at the right time? Are people just always looking for footage of that game for some reason?
I guess.
I mean, I appreciate the views. Big number make me happy, but...
Okay. What did that open? Oh, this one. And then we have to jump it on that log, and then we will... I think that's it for this damn boat.
Oh, we gotta do another ramp?
Yes. We gotta do one last ramp, Zach, though I don't even know if that truly is the last one. I've played this game twice. I played it on PS3, and then when Alec helped me build a actually decent gaming PC, I then played through it on PC to get the original experience. Phew! Didn't think I was gonna make that jump. Alright. And then hopefully we'll be done with this video. No, come on, get over there. No,
No, because then we gotta see what Ravenholm looks like.
oh no. Maybe we'll have to do a part 2 for that. A part 2 of Half-Life 2, except there's nothing there.
See, this is why people should come to our channel. We'll play the games no one else will. Are you tired of YouTube horror Let's Players yelling at everything? Come to ABZ. We'll talk over Half-Life 2 alone, and we'll do it for multiple parts. And that's a threat.
Okay, this seems like where you finally get off this damn boat.
Yeah, we could play the popular games, and to be fair, we have a couple times. I mean, like I said, we got so many views on Night of 100 Frights, and then also Indiana Jones. But, like, we didn't expect those to get that many views. But we've also done Indigo Park, but that was mainly just Brant and I experiencing a mascot horror. Because Brant and I usually don't play mascot horror games. And that was just the popular one at the time. But we will show you games that you've either heard of but have never really seen, or heard of and haven't been convinced to play, or just never heard of, and you know, we just hope to find things to interest people, or even just entertain you by talking over Gordon Freeman going on a very long walk.
Yeah, I imagine his legs are killing him by this point. Though he has been sitting in his boat a while, I guess.
Gordon's had a long day. Gordon's probably been alone with his thoughts for so long that I don't know where to take that sentence.
Maybe we cannot enter.
I mean, after all, we don't go to Ravenholm.
That's true, we don't go to Ravenholm anymore. That's how that phrase goes, right?
Something like that.
Oh. Of course. We need the gun. Beware of dog. Alex, where'd you put it? Unless I just walked past the damn thing, but I'm pretty sure she gave it to you out here.
Maybe that part of the game's not ready yet.
It's possible, but you think they just wouldn't have the level in there if there was nothing you could do with it.
There it is.
Alright. I go to Ravenholm all the time.
You madman.
Okay. Up the ladder we go. Snake eater. Blah, blah, blah.
I already made that joke in Half-Life 1.
Oh, no!
We've been reusing material.
Ah.
But you can't complain about it, audience, unless you've watched every one of our videos.
And now we're home again. Soak in that nice, quiet, zombie-less air.
Yes, now we are Ravenholm.
I think that'll do it for this part, so hope you enjoyed it. I know it was a little long in the tooth of me just walking around, but I thought this would be an interesting test to see what Zach and I could ultimately get out of Half-Life 2 with nothing in it.
Surprisingly a lot.
Yeah, I think this turned out pretty decently.
Then again, you and I will just...
I think it's a pretty good place to stop.
Yeah.
So with Gordon completed his walk by decapitating himself in the stupidest way possible, that'll wrap it up.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.